and welcome to this unboxing video. So this is quite exciting because this might be something very cool and it may also be something spectacularly terrible in a way that may also be interesting. So to not beat around the bush too much, what should be in here, assuming they've sent me the right thing, is a Seattle Baritone guitar by Gear4Music. Gear4Music is a kind of audio wholesaler, retailer based in the UK, but like Thomann in Germany or any number of those sites in the US. But like a lot of those websites, Gear4Music have for a while been producing their own like mega budget, undercutting Squire kind of low end stuff, you know, guitars, basses, even a few amps I think for Gear4Music and stuff. So, and I was looking the other day because I've had this Squire, I think it's a vintage modified bass 6 for a long time. And I don't like it. I've had it for ages. I have modified it. It's got the stay-trim bridge. You know, I put a different pick guard on it. I've played around with the electronics to try and get a better sound out of it. I don't like it. It's I really like the concept, but I've never been able to get what I want out of this instrument. The action has never been able to go low enough, even with neck shims and even the stay-trim bridge. The intonation isn't great because it's that, you know, the tunematic thing with the vibrato. So. I was looking for something else, and I was just idly browsing what budget bass 6s there were available, because I knew that Gear4Music had been producing one under the Sub-Zero Rogue. I think Sub-Zero was their original brand name. They've started using their own now, and the Rogue was just a general body shape, one of which was a bass 6. They produced that for a while and I thought they'd stopped, but they have started producing stuff again under their own Gear4Music label. And they're producing the Rogue again under a different name for I think £270 or something sterling. But they're also making this, the Seattle Baritone guitar. Now, okay, so the first thing to get out of the way before I even open the box, this is not a baritone guitar. Like it's called a baritone guitar on the website. It is the Seattle Baritone guitar. It comes in 2 colors. It's not a baritone guitar, it's a bass 6 because it comes up strung like a bass 6 with bass 6 strings and it's 30-inch scale like a bass 6. It's not a baritone. If you try and buy one and tune it up like a baritone, which is the only other review I think on the internet of this thing, the only other video review anyway, is some poor guy who bought it, thought it was a baritone and then tried to tune it up like a baritone in spite of the fact that it's got bass 6 strings on it. I don't think it went very well for him. So I bought this intending it to be a bass 6. But the important thing about this is it is £149. So it undercuts, I think, more or less any other bass 6 you can buy by about £70 to £100. This is really cheap, like really, really cheap. I think there's a couple of American brands that are maybe equivalent, and I'm not sure. I think Harley Benton does a bass 6 as well. Okay, so I thought I'd jump in during editing because I did actually look this up because I want to know whether or not this is actually the cheapest bass 6. Harley Benton do a JA baritone in black, which is another baritone, but it's not baritone, it's bass 6, it's 30-inch scale length. That is £169. It's pretty cool actually. It's all blacked out, you know, it's got block inlays and a pair of P90s, which is an interesting choice for bass 6. I'd be curious to see how that sounds and what that feels like compared to this, but it's £169. So at £145.50 at latest check, the Seattle still beats it out by a fair bit. I think this is the cheapest bass 6 you can currently buy, at least in the UK. And it's a bass 6. It has 2 humbuckers instead of like Strat single coil, Strat cell single coils or Jaguar single coils, which it just doesn't work very well. And it's got a real hardtail bridge. It doesn't have some stupid tunematic thing, and it doesn't have a tremolo system. So in theory, this should be really good, but it's also only £149, which might mean the build quality is just horrible. But yeah, I think I've waffled on enough now, and we should just open it and see what we've got. Yeah, I'm quite excited because, like I said, I think this is either going to be very, very cool and really worth the money, or it's going to be total trash and that'll be kind of cool to look at as well. Good thing is I do all my own setups. I do a lot of repair work. You know, nothing like, well, I'm saying nothing major. I did get the chisels out for something the other day, but I do my own repair work. I do my own setups, so if there's anything wrong with it that isn't very, very fundamental, I should be able to fix it. And if on a very basic level it seems kind of structurally sound, like if the neck's okay, if the fretwork is okay, although I can fix that a bit. If it's like the pickups are bad or just the hardware is getting in the way, I could maybe, you know, I might keep it and I might upgrade it. And if it's like even slightly better than the bass 6, I'll get rid of the bass 6. Because like I said, I just can't get that thing to work. Okay. Right, let's see what we've got in here. Okay, nice. Actually, I didn't think this would come with its own gig bag, and it did. It's probably a really bad one, but got a little Gear4Music guitar guide. Let's see. Oh, okay, we've got, it's not in the gig bag is just on top. Fair enough. Yeah, just fairly basic. It's probably a guitar gig bag. Most bass 6s will just about fit into a guitar bag. Some of them don't though, so it does look like they've given you one that will actually fit the 30-inch scale length, which is, you know, it's a nice touch. This should be the blue one. Is I wanted the maple neck. I've never been a huge. It comes in blue and sunburst. I've never been a huge fan of sunburst. Ooh, okay, that is very blue. I can already see through the packaging here. Oh, this is exciting. Here we are. Now this, it looks really good. It looks really good actually. It's pretty light. I should actually show it to the camera as well. I'm just going to do first impressions here. I think probably what I'll do is I'll try and do a full review because this will probably want a new set of strings. Funnily enough, I don't have bass 6 strings just sitting around, so I need to go and get some. But yeah, I'll probably give this a proper review once I've had a chance to actually set it up and get some new strings. It's light. I've got my own strap here that I've taken through, so I'm going to put this on here. Got little bits of polystyrene all over me, but that's fine. So setup we've got here is we've got just 2 humbuckers, 3-position switch, volume and tone, strap style knobs there. Plate on the side, nothing on the back. Oh, actually, let's see. I remember someone doing a review of the Rogue 6 said it had some finish problems when it arrived. Where they'd cut the neck slot. Ah, yeah, okay. This one does have a little bit of that as well. So what the guy, I can't remember his name, guy on YouTube, I saw doing an old review of the Rogue, said that he thought they'd maybe sprayed the bodies before cutting the neck pockets, which seems, I don't get why you would do that, but that it does kind of look like what they've done here because it's kind of chipped at the edge. It kind of looks like they've cut into the lacquer a little bit, but it's very minor. Only in the bottom as well. You wouldn't, not really in the top. You wouldn't notice it unless you were really looking for it. I mean, like there, I didn't notice it until I looked for it. This is a really nice color. I'm not usually a fan of. I need to make sure this isn't shot. I'm not usually a fan of blue guitars, but actually this is nice. We've got a couple of pieces, I think, in the body. You can actually see. There's zero chance this will come through on camera, so I wouldn't even try. But you can. There's a slight roughness to the polyurethane on the back where I think we've got joins. But I mean, I'm not expecting anything out of this. I didn't even really look up what it was made of, because like at this price point, who cares? It's probably made of like, it's probably made of the sawdust they scraped off the factory floor after making the real guitars, you know. So whatever it says it's made of, it hardly even matters. But no, it's light. It's, yeah, way lighter than the 6, which another problem with that is it's pretty heavy. For something that is technically a short scale bass, it's heavier than a lot of my full scale 34-inch basses. This feels good in hand. Yeah. Okay, let's get the strap on it. I don't think this is going to neck dive. It's got that slight offset shape, but it doesn't feel heavy in the headstock. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. You know, now look at the action from this angle. It's not that great. I think we've got next little curve. Probably want to get the truss rod, sort that out. It's adjustment at the headstock, so that's fine. Tuners look okay. Kind of. Yeah, those are the kind of vintage close ones. These are more like sort of go-to knockoffs or something. Interesting. Those will be easier to replace as well, which is nice. If it seems like you need it. It's a shame they went from the Sub-Zero branding to Gear4Music slightly, because that is not. The logo looks a bit cheap, you know, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Right, I've been kind of putting this off because I'm a bit nervous because I like how it looks and I really want this to play well. But we should probably see how it sounds. I'm not getting a huge amount of sharp fret ends, maybe a little bit in the first fret. Nothing like, I wouldn't call it egregious really, on that side at least. What about this side? Oh, okay. Yeah, we got some sharp fret ends. That's really to be expected at this kind of price point though. Yeah, up past the 14th, 15th fret, we've got some. Feels a bit rough on the fingers, but nothing that's going to cut your hands. Just something that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and nothing that, like, you know, 30 seconds work with file isn't going to fix, you know. Yeah, pretty sharp up the end here, but I mean, it doesn't really matter at that point, does it? I bet the intonation on this is not great, judging by how the bridge is set up, but we'll see. Right, okay, I am actually going to play this now. Again, I was kind of nervous, but we gotta go for it. See what it's like. So I'm just running this into my tuner, just to get this up to pitch, and then straight into the TC Electronic BG250, which is a very nice combo. I've had this for many years now. It served me very well. Right, I think we're probably going to pick for this, so I've got a few here. Although I've had success playing bass style instruments with the pick or with fingers. This is not quite in the place you expect. You kind of expect the jack socket to be there, and it's there, which is a bit odd, but fair enough. It's not a major problem. It doesn't interfere with where you're going to sit. I'm actually kind of surprised this isn't a neck dive, because it's quite, the shape feels like it should, but I think the headstock's just light enough. These tuners aren't like lead weights, as cheap tuners can sometimes be. Right, let's get this up to pitch, see what we've got here. Oh, these are stiff though, Jesus. Wow, okay, that's, oh, yeah, these are not great. Might be able to tighten them up a little bit, but yeah, that's the thing in these real, like, micro budget instruments, is the hardware, especially the tuners. That's where the saving comes from. On something you pay, like, you know, £150 on, versus something like, you know, even modern Squires that you're paying maybe $250, $300 for. You're paying for the better hardware. Oh, these tuners are really bad. These are really, really bad. I'm like overshooting, undershooting, I'm getting play out of it with no change. It's, oh god, yeah. These, if I'm keeping this, these are going. If anyone's not already aware, and you should be, given you've got this far in the video, but bass 6 is exactly, it's one octave below a regular guitar. So it's the bottom 4 strings of a bass, and the top 2 strings are tuned like you would tune a guitar, just an octave down. Come on, give me the. Come on, up the pitch, don't explode on me. Don't explode. Hey, we have an E. Right, now we need to start again because the bottom will have gone out while I was going up the strings. Yeah, we're down to D sharp again. But yeah, we've got up to pitch. We know it works because it's feeding signal to the tuner, so you know we're getting some signal out of it. Let's give it a go. So I can already tell. Well, let's just briefly check the intonation. Ooh, ooh, wow, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, this is what I was expecting because you can see from the way these saddles are set up that the intonation is not going to be right. We are very sharp at the 12th fret. Yeah. This whole setup is going to have to change, you know, obviously. But I do just want to see. Oh, these tuners are so stiff. I want to see if we get any sound of it at all, any sound out of it at all. Wow, that's so sharp. Okay, that'll do. Right. Intonation's terrible. I knew that was going to be the case from just looking at the bridge. That's probably the worst intonation I've ever had out of the box on a new guitar, but you get what you pay for. You know, you haven't paid for a setup in this thing at 150 quid, right? You know, you haven't paid for the time of anyone to look twice at this thing before it went out. Okay, so let's see if it works. We've got sound. This is volume and tone are both up. This is center position, so we should be getting both pickups. Oh, that intonation is not good. Let's try and stay around the bottom of the fretboard here. Not a great tone circuit in this. It doesn't do a whole lot. Okay, we're getting a little bit. It's just not so noticeable in the lower strings. Sounds really nice. I mean, the intonation is terrible, so it's like it's really throwing me as well, but let's try some guitar chords. voicings that would normally sound okay on guitar. Like if you play like an open E, it's all just because it's too low, it's just mushing together. But or D, that sounds nice. That sounds really nice. That's so much nicer. I don't understand why so many manufacturers, when they make a bass 6, they copy this, and this is bad. This is not a good design. There's so many things that are wrong with that, and one of the things that's wrong with it is the Jaguar single coil pickups. They don't sound good on a bass. Like, you have to do so much to make them sound good. If it just had a pair of humbuckers like this thing, you just get a much nicer sound, a much kind of fuller sound. There is a possibility I might miss the strangle switch on the bass 6, which is like, that sounds good. But yeah, I might miss the strangle switch. The strangle switch is it's like a high pass filter. I don't think it is a high pass filter, but it effectively does the same thing. Just cuts out a lot of the low end, and means you can play the bass 6 a bit more like a guitar. Can help with clearing up the sound slightly if you're trying to play chords, for one thing. But I think I'm getting a lot of clarity at this in the low end, even with fingers, because a lot of the time with the Squire bass 6, I feel like I have to play it with a pick, not because of the string spacing, because I actually like narrow string spacing, but just because I can't get the clarity, especially at the bottom end. It just sounds all woolly and kind of like stuff gets lost. But this actually has a pretty good bass sound. Bass sound to it. Right, so we've just been playing this in, I've played with the tone a little bit, but this is just middle positions. This is both pickups. Switches to the next, so we've got here. Oh, this intonation is terrible though. I will have to go and set this up properly in a minute, because this is not a good demonstration of what this can do, just because it sounds so bad. Like, I don't even know, I'm starting to lose track of which fret I should be going for, just because it's that out of tune. It sounds like I've hit the wrong one when I haven't. Sound. On that neck pickup. Nice. These pickups, they sound pretty good. They sound good, which is not what I was expecting. Yeah, this is the EQ's flat. A little bit of gain, but I'm not really adding anything to this. This is just what it sounds like, and it sounds, intonation aside, it sounds pretty good. Well, we're gonna have to check the tuning again. I think we've drifted slightly. There we go. fuzz, which is interesting. Oh, a little bit. That's probably just the last fret, and there's maybe a little bit high. Doesn't look like there's a major, like it's not properly seated or anything. But yeah, that last fret's probably a bit high. Again, you're not paying for someone to go over this before it ships. And on a 150 quid bass, they are not going to care if, like, you know, the how many frets does this have? Oh yeah, 20. Yeah, they're not going to care if the 21st fret and the low E is rattles a bit, you know. They got all the other strings though. Yeah, that's the only. Let's check the other strings though. But so far, I think that's the only place it rattles. The high stuff sounds really good in this neck pickup. That's not bad. I mean, we still haven't set the action, and it's a little bit high at the top here. We could do with just giving the truss rod a little spin here, because I think we have a little too much. Yeah, too much bend in the neck there. The saddles are almost at full extension, so we can probably stand to lower those a little bit too. Maybe a bit too much neck. Well, we'll look at the neck, measure it out properly and work out what's going on. For now though, we have a bridge humbucker to look at. Bite out of that as I thought we were going to get there with the bridge humbucker, because I'm kind of used to, again, comparing it to the bass 6. You really notice when you engage the bridge pickup. I use the bridge pickup a lot on that when I've been trying to record stuff with it, because you get a huge amount of bite and kind of aggression out of it. Not as much of a switch with this, going from you notice it, but Okay, so I haven't rigged up any pedals apart from the tuner, but we do have a couple onboard effects, and there is one that anyone who has bought this, well, they probably haven't bought the lovely sky blue one, they probably bought maybe the sunburst one with the black pickguard. But anyone who's bought this because it's basically an incredibly down-tuned guitar probably wants to hear what it sounds like with distortion. And although I haven't rigged up my dark glass pedal, I do have a little something on here that we can try. Interesting. I mean, we're talking first impressions here, and obviously I haven't set this thing up here. It has not come well set up, but if anyone seriously expected a 150 quid bass to come well set up, you know, especially one that's been ordered straight from the manufacturer, hasn't been bought out of a shop or they might have had a look at it, you know, that's ridiculous. You can't expect that. So I don't feel too bad about that. Build quality is okay. We've got this screw here, which I didn't notice until I've been playing for a bit actually. It's very, very close, in fact. Oh yeah, slightly over the edge of the pick guard there, so that hasn't been put in quite right. We're a bit close down here as well, so I think they were a little bit cavalier with the way they drilled some of these holes, but 150 quid again, you know. Structurally seems sound. Obviously we'll need to do our setup to check if the truss rod works, but I mean, that's like, you have some certain expectations when it comes to very cheap instruments, but like these days the truss rod probably works. You know, they're probably not shipping stuff that's quite that obviously faulty. The bridge looks like it's still got a fair amount of play, lot of play in terms of intonation up and down. I don't think that's going to be well, I mean, we're going to have a lot of adjustment room, to put it that way. And we'll see how well it intonates, because this scale length and these type of strings, it contributes to that. I mean, the tunematic bridges or the vibratos you get a lot of bass sixes are usually the primary problem, but like there is an innate difficulty in getting these things intonated once you get up the fretboard. But the intonation on this is like, stock is atrocious, you know. I mean, this has not been set at all. They've just bolted this bridge on and slapped some strings on it. Action is not as bad as it could be. I was almost impressed with that out the box, just because of how it compared to the action in my Squire 6. I kind of forgot that the Squire 6 is hideous, like it's terrible, it's got awful action. So being better than the Squire 6 doesn't mean that the action is, you know, pleasant to play on or low. This is still, you know, it's taken some effort to really get the strings down. I would like to bring that down by a fair bit, but as with the intonation, I mean, someone's clearly done some kind of adjustment, probably just to stop it buzzing. I would think is all they've really done there, because the string height is almost maxed out in a lot of these strings, and in a way that I don't think is necessary. So I think we will need to tweak the truss rod a little bit, but I think it's mostly just lowering these saddles. What else? The pickups sound pretty good to me. We've got a nice, clean action. Isn't great, so it's hard to fret these chords, but that sounds really good through this amp. And again, this is flat. This is just it's a good amp, but it's the sound of the bass. I'm not colouring this in any way. It's nice. It does sound nice. So yeah, neck pickup, love it. Bridge pickup, maybe a little bit disappointing. I was expecting something a bit kind of aggression and chug to it. This does not have that. It's quite it's a little subdued. Feels like I almost get more power at the neck pickup, just with that extra bass. Be interesting to see how that sounds once I actually start, you know, mixing it into things, because that kind of woolliness and the amount of bass in this might be a bit overpowering for usefulness, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it doesn't. I saved the bridge pickup till last because I was expecting, you know, switch the bridge pickup and then go, you know, get like a real, you know, big kind of crunchy bridge humbucker tone.
Not really getting that. It's not super close to the bridge, I guess, but
yeah, it's not quite got that bite. I mean, even with the it's just not. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. I mean, these are just standard size humbuckers, right? There's no weird parts in this, really. Especially not compared to all the weird stuff that's in a bass 6 for that tremolo and the Jaguar pickups. You're not really ever going to find it. I mean, there are some sets of pickups that are okay, but compared to all the weird stuff in a bass 6, this is going to be refreshingly straightforward to mod. I think these are, I don't know about the bridge. I don't know if they've used something that's maybe a little bit chunkier for this, but they would have spent money on, developing parts for this, really. So this has got to be some kind of standard size. Just remains to be seen whether it's a standard size, standard guitar hardtail or not, and what the options are for replacement. Obviously the pick guard is probably a very specific design. I think I would struggle to get one of those. I'd probably need to have one cut or cut one myself. Tuners, I think these are, I forget with guitars, I'm more used to bass tuners. I think these are the kind of standard Goto shaped ones, so that's good. That means those could be easily replaced, and those do need replaced. Out of everything on this bass, the tuners are the thing that are really standing out as bad. They are bad tuners. Those need taken off the instrument, thrown out, and replaced with good ones, or at the very least, like Harley Benton ones from Doman or something. Because these are trash. These are really bad. They make tuning this thing a huge pain, and it's nothing really to do with anything else. It's just that the gearing on those tuners is terrible. Yeah. So, first impressions. Pretty good, especially for the money. Setup's atrocious. There are a few construction issues, where holes haven't been drilled in quite the right place. It's a couple of sharp fret ends. Nothing major, and unlike our dear friend here, the Fender Bass 6, that venerable design, there are no major design flaws in this thing. Like, it seems like it's all going to work fairly well. Like, the intonation's terrible, but there's a lot of play here to get that right, so I have high hopes for that. It's not got some basically useless vibrato system on it. It's got pickups that are fairly appropriate to what you're really going to want to do with this thing, instead of like a set of 3 single coils. It doesn't have the weird controls, it's just got your pickup selector, volume and tone. You might possibly miss the strangle switch from a bass 6, but I don't know. I think you can get around that, and maybe I could install one down the line if I really wanted to. So yeah, first impressions, pretty good. Sounds great, especially that neck pickup. I'm going to go and set this up, and then I'll be back at some point in the future. Depending on how it feels after I set it up, it might need a new set of strings. We'll see. But depending on how it feels after I set it up, I will be back sooner or later with a full review and maybe a comparison with the Bass 6 and an indication of whether or not, if you're looking for very, very cheap Bass 6, whether or not you should invest in one of these. And I would tell you the name of it, but I can't remember. So I looked it up. It's the Seattle, I knew it was an American city, I just couldn't remember which one. It's the Seattle Baritone guitar by Gear4Music, although, once again,
not a baritone guitar, it's a bass 6, 30-inch scale. If you want a baritone guitar, I mean, maybe you could make this work, but that's not what this is. It's a bass 6. You probably want to tune it like a bass 6 and play it like a bass 6. Full octave down. That's what this is. 30-inch scale. Not a baritone. But yeah, misnamed as it is, this is pretty cool. I'm very optimistic about my chances of turning this into something very usable, actually. Yeah, let's see how it is after a setup. But for now, thank you for watching.